What's about to happen across the Great Lakes will break snowfall records that have stood for decades. And the shocking part? This is just the beginning of a snow pattern that could bury some cities under 10 to 15 feet by February 1st. The lake effect snow machine is about to shift into overdrive. Water temperatures on the Great Lakes are running 4 to 7 degrees above normal. 4 to 7 degrees Fahrenheit warmer than average. When Arctic air masses cross these warm lakes, the snow production becomes absolutely explosive. Within 72 hours, communities downwind of Lakes Erie and Ontario will experience snowfall rates that seem impossible. We're forecasting 4 to 6 inches per hour during peak intensity bands. 4 to 6 inches every single hour. Here's the stunning revelation at minute 3. Some locations could receive an entire winter's worth of snow in just 1 week. The seasonal snowfall average for Buffalo, New York is 95 inches. They could see 60 to 80 inches in the next 7 days alone. 60 to 80 inches in 1 week. The National Weather Service office in Buffalo issued a statement this morning calling this setup potentially historic. When forecasters who deal with lake effect snow every winter use the word historic, you know something extraordinary is developing. Let me show you the mechanism that creates this snow factory. Arctic air diving south from Canada will have temperatures at 5,000 feet of -10 to -20 degrees Fahrenheit. -10 to -20. Meanwhile, Lake Erie's surface temperature sits at 39 to 41 degrees. Lake Ontario, 40 to 42 degrees. That temperature difference, 50 to 60 degrees between the water and the air aloft, generates tremendous instability. The atmosphere becomes a conveyor belt, lifting moisture from the lake's surface, condensing it into snow, and dumping it downwind. But here's what makes this event particularly dangerous. The wind direction will remain remarkably steady for 4 to 5 days straight. When lake effect snow bands set up and don't move, the same communities get pounded repeatedly. Snow totals become localized but extreme. The Tug Hill Plateau east of Lake Ontario, Watertown, Oswego County in New York, these areas sit in the bullseye. 5-day snowfall totals could reach 6 to 8 feet. 6 to 8 feet. That's 72 to 96 inches. Interstate 81 from Syracuse north to the Canadian border will become impassable at times. The New York State Thruway, Interstate 90, will face extended closures. Commercial trucking will grind to a halt. God's creation shows us power beyond our comprehension. Job 37 verses 6 through 10 describe it perfectly. He says to the snow, "Fall on the earth, and to the rain shower, be a mighty downpour. So that everyone he has made may know his work, he stops all people from their labor. The animals take cover, they remain in their dens. The tempest comes out from its chamber, the cold from the driving winds. The breath of God produces ice, and the broad waters become frozen." Here's your 30-second reward, the critical action items. If you live in lake effect snow zones, stock up on supplies now. You need food for 7 to 10 days, medications for 2 weeks, generators with fuel, snow removal equipment checked and ready. This is not optional. Once the snow starts, you won't be going anywhere. Beyond the Great Lakes, another snow story is unfolding across the western mountains. The Sierra Nevada range in California is about to receive what meteorologists call a pineapple express. This is a moisture plume originating near Hawaii, carrying tropical-level water vapor to California. When this moisture hits the mountains, it converts to snow at elevations above 7,000 feet. The snow levels, the elevation where rain transitions to snow, will fluctuate between 6,000 and 8,500 feet, depending on the individual storm's strength. But the cumulative snowfall, absolutely staggering. Mammoth Mountain could see 7 to 10 feet of new snow in the next week. 7 to 10 feet. Squaw Valley, 6 to 9 feet. Kirkwood, 5 to 8 feet. These aren't powder days. These are survival situations. Avalanche danger will escalate to extreme levels. Backcountry access will be impossible and deadly. The California Department of Transportation is already preparing for extended Interstate 80 closures over Donner Pass. When they close I-80, the main artery between California and Nevada shuts down. Commercial traffic reroutes hundreds of miles. Economic impacts run into tens of millions of dollars per day, tens of millions daily when that corridor closes. Now, the Rocky Mountains from Colorado to Montana face their own snow onslaught. The combination of Pacific moisture and cold Canadian air masses creates upslope snow events along the eastern slopes. These upslope events can produce 2 to 4 feet of snow in 24 to 36 hours across a narrow geographic band. Cities like Boulder, Fort Collins, Cheyenne, these Front Range communities could see 2 to 3 separate major snow events between now and January 15th. 2 to 3 events producing 12 to 24 inches each time. Denver's seasonal snowfall average is 57 inches. They might receive 40 to 50 inches in the next 2 weeks alone. That's nearly an entire winter's worth of snow in 14 days. School closures will be extensive. Power outages from heavy, wet snow weighing down lines. Tree damage from snow load exceeding branch strength. But here's the twist that connects to the broader pattern at minute 5. All this snow in the mountains is building snowpack to levels we haven't seen in 5 years. The snow water equivalent, the actual water content locked in the snowpack, is approaching 150 to 200% of normal. 150 to 200%. This is phenomenal news for water resources. Reservoirs that were critically low will refill completely. Agricultural water allocations will be robust. Hydroelectric power generation will increase. But it sets up a concerning scenario for late winter and early spring. When the pattern flips warm in late January and February, and models strongly suggest it will, all this snow starts melting rapidly. Mountain snowmelt, combined with warm rain events, creates catastrophic flood potential. Rivers that are dry or low right now could be raging torrents by March. The National Weather Service is already drafting preliminary spring flood outlooks. Early indications show above normal flood risk for the Missouri River Basin, the Upper Mississippi, the Columbia River System, and the Sacramento River. Flood stage could be reached 4 to 6 weeks earlier than normal. Communities that typically flood in May might face high water in late March or early April. Don't miss this critical information coming up. While the West and Great Lakes battle extreme snow, the Northern Plains face a different challenge: pure, unadulterated cold. The Arctic outbreak arriving Sunday into Monday will bring wind chills rarely experienced outside of Alaska. International Falls, Minnesota could see actual air temperatures of -30 to -35 degrees Fahrenheit, -30 to -35. Add wind at 15 to 25 miles per hour, and wind chills drop to -50 to -60, -50 to -60 degrees. At those temperatures, exposed skin freezes in less than 5 minutes. Frostbite occurs almost instantaneously. Even breathing becomes difficult as the extreme cold sears lung tissue. These aren't numbers from 100 years ago. This is the forecast for next week. Bismarck, North Dakota, -25 to -30 air temperature. Fargo, -20 to -28. Duluth, Minnesota, -15 to -25. The northern tier of states will be locked in a deep freeze for 5 to 7 days straight. 5 to 7 consecutive days where temperatures never climb above zero in some locations. Heating systems will be stressed to their limits. Natural gas demand will spike. Rolling blackouts become possible if generation can't keep pace with demand. Pipes will freeze despite precautions. Vehicles won't start even with block heaters. Schools will close not because of snow, but because it's too dangerous for children to wait at bus stops. This is survival weather. This is life-threatening cold. As believers, we see God's hand even in the fiercest storms. Psalm 147 verse 16 and 17 say, "He spreads the snow like wool and scatters the frost like ashes. He hurls down his hail like pebbles. Who can withstand his icy blast?" The answer is, we can't withstand it in our own strength. We need preparation, community, and God's protection. Let's talk about the human stories behind these numbers. Elderly residents living alone face the greatest risk during extreme cold. Heating systems fail. They can't afford to run heat continuously. Hypothermia sets in quickly. Churches and community organizations are mobilizing warming shelters. But reaching isolated rural residents is challenging when roads are impassable and wind chills are deadly. Livestock producers face devastating losses if they're not prepared. Cattle, exposed to -40 wind chills, can die within hours without adequate shelter and windbreaks. Newborn calves have zero chance of survival in these conditions without heated barns. Ranchers are adjusting breeding schedules, but some will still face losses running into hundreds of thousands of dollars. The homeless population in northern cities faces life or death situations. Shelters will be at capacity. Outreach teams will work around the clock to bring people inside. But some individuals refuse shelter either due to mental illness or personal choice. They become statistics in cold weather fatality reports. Now, the snow cleanup challenges are monumental. Buffalo employs an army of snow removal equipment, but even their extensive fleet gets overwhelmed when 6 to 8 feet falls in a week. Where do you put that much snow? You can't just plow it to the side when it's measured in feet, not inches. It has to be hauled away, requiring thousands of dump truck loads. The cost of snow removal for a single major event runs into millions of dollars. Multiple major events back to back, the budget implications are staggering for small communities. Some towns will deplete their entire annual snow removal budget by mid-January. Then what? They either borrow from other departments or seek emergency state funding. School districts face similar challenges. Each snow day requires makeup time later in the year. Extended winter break. Shortened spring break. Extending the school year into June. But safety comes first. No responsible administrator risks student lives putting buses on roads during blizzard conditions. Here's the shocking connection at minute 12 that changes everything. This extreme winter weather pattern across the north sets up a dramatic contrast when the warm pattern arrives in late January. Imagine going from -20 degrees to +40 degrees in just 4 to 5 days. -20 to +40. That's a 60-degree temperature swing in less than a week. Your body, buildings, infrastructure, none of these systems handle rapid temperature changes well. Frost heaves and roadways develop as the ground freezes deep, then thaws rapidly. Potholes form by the thousands. Road maintenance budgets explode. Building materials expand and contract. Concrete cracks, foundations shift, roof damage occurs from rapid freeze-thaw cycles. The economic cost of extreme temperature variability exceeds the cost of steady cold. Variability is more destructive than consistency, and the variability is increasing. Climate data shows that temperature swings, both within seasons and between years, are becoming more pronounced. This year might be the poster child for extreme variability. Brutal cold in early January, spring-like warmth by late January, then who knows what February brings. Long-range forecasters are hedging their bets. The pattern is too unusual, too amplified, to predict with confidence beyond 2 weeks. But one thing is certain. The days of predictable, consistent winter patterns are behind us. The new normal is unpredictability. For communities, this requires different planning strategies. You can't budget for average conditions anymore. You have to prepare for extremes on both ends. For individuals, it means maintaining readiness for multiple scenarios. Winter storm supplies and severe weather preparedness, both necessary in the same season. God's word reminds us that uncertainty is part of the human experience. Proverbs 27 verse 1 says, "Do not boast about tomorrow, for you do not know what a day may bring." We plan wisely, but we hold our plans loosely, trusting that God's purposes prevail regardless of weather patterns. The snow falling across the north serves vital purposes beyond the inconvenience it causes. It insulates the ground, protecting plant roots and soil organisms from killing cold. Without snow cover, much deeper frost penetration occurs, damaging ecosystems. It provides critical water resources when it melts. The Rocky Mountain snowpack supplies water to 60 million Americans. 60 million people depend on mountain snow for their water supply. It supports winter recreation economies worth billions of dollars. Ski resorts, snowmobile tourism, ice fishing, all contribute jobs and tax revenue. Even the extreme cold serves purposes. It kills invasive insects and disease organisms that would otherwise proliferate. Emerald ash borer beetles die when temperatures drop below -20 for extended periods. God wastes nothing in his creation. Every season, every weather extreme, every challenging pattern serves purposes we often don't recognize until later. As we close, remember that preparation is an act of faith. Noah built an ark before the rain fell. Joseph stored grain before the famine hit. We prepare for winter weather before the storms arrive. In our next video, we'll reveal the severe weather outbreak forecast for late January and early February. The pattern flip from winter to spring-like conditions creates extreme severe weather potential. We'll show you the exact dates when tornado risks spike, which states face the greatest danger, and how to protect your family and property. This is information you cannot afford to miss. Make sure you're subscribed and notifications are turned on. Thank you for watching today. Share this with your neighbors, especially those who might be isolated or vulnerable during extreme weather. May God keep you safe through every storm. May He provide for every need. And may you find peace, knowing that He who calms the wind and waves also watches over you. Stay safe, stay prepared, and we'll see you in the next forecast.